Our daily Bible reading today comes from Proverbs chapter 26 through chapter 28. And our daily devotional today here at Carrollton Christian Fellowship comes from the very beginning of Proverbs chapter 26. And what we see in Proverbs chapter 26 throughout the whole chapter is that Solomon is addressing and is pointing out the character of both a foolish and a lazy man. In our devotional today, the first part of Proverbs chapter 26, what we see is that Solomon is primarily addressing the character of a foolish man. We see that honoring someone who does not learn from past mistakes or who intentionally rejects wisdom, that honoring this individual, it does no one any good. Honoring this individual, what it does is it brings about someone who is prideful, someone who is puffed up, someone who thinks that they are better than someone who will just automatically every single time they will be abusive to other people, that they do not understand how to handle that recognition, they don't understand how to handle the position, nothing like that. And then also for the individual who will, because like let's say you've recognized an individual who is very foolish, someone who did not learn from past mistakes, or someone who rejected wisdom. That's a foolish individual. And so the next place where that person goes with all these accolades, that place now will suffer. That place will suffer because they do not reach the qualifications and potential of which that recognition was given. So be very careful, be very slow to recognizing anyone in any position, because what it will do is if we lay hands on too quickly, if we recognize too quickly, is that we might find out that that individual has not learned things properly, has not been listening to things properly. But quite possibly that person has become a yes man, to where they're just saying yes because they know that that's what you want to hear, or a no man because they say no because they just don't want to say yes. Whatever the modern, whatever the cultural hype and the cultural fad and thing to say to people is, for whatever reason. Or they're just a hireling. They're just doing things because they want to receive a paycheck. But all of a sudden when that paycheck's removed, they're not really as interested in, let's say, for instance, ministry. When there's no paycheck alongside, maybe they're not really interested in ministry. So we need to be careful about laying hands on too quickly, and about someone saying like, oh, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to do, but then all of a sudden when they get hands laid on them or they get a position, then they're like, okay, cool, I got hands laid on me, I got a position. Oh, guess what? Now I'm ready to take off. And so that is not an individual who has learned to sit and learn, but that is an individual who is very rush and very haste. And so that individual will go through a lot of pain later on in life. And so this does no good for anyone. That's what Solomon is talking about here in verse 1 and verse 2. And then in verse 3 through 6, Solomon addresses and talks about how to address a foolish individual. How is it that you address them? How do you address and how do you address the problems and how they're going about? So if you look at even all the way in 2 Thessalonians. So 2 Thessalonians, Paul there is writing a letter to the church about disorderly conduct. And he addresses how it is that you address an individual who is lazy, an individual who is foolish, who does not desire to listen to correction, an individual who does not desire to listen to the biblical instruction. And so Paul even goes there. The Bible is chock full of how to address a foolish person. Then we see in verse 7 through 12 that Solomon is pointing out what is the natural tendencies or what is the muscle memory for a foolish person. So what's their natural tendencies? What's the muscle memory? What are the muscles of that individual's heart? What's the muscles of that individual's mind? What's the muscles of that individual's reflexes? How have they exercised their reflexes, their heart? What's their passion behind it? Also, what's their mind? What are they automatically going to think about? What are they automatically going to put their concentration and focus on? So what is a foolish individual's muscle memory? And so I hope this can be a good encouragement to you I hope this can encourage you on how you go about interacting with different individuals. And the key thing in all of this, Jesus actually points out to the disciples in Matthew chapter 18. And what Jesus says is that the biggest and the number one thing that you do for everyone is you pray for them. No matter where they are, no matter how many times they may have goofed up, no matter how many times they may have rejected sound counsel, no matter how many times, you continue to pray for them. You continue to pray that the Lord will be able to break through, that there will be nothing hindering the moving of the Holy Spirit in their life to give them instruction. And then what you do is that you just continue to be an example to them. Because by this point, they're not willing to listen to you. They're not willing to receive from you. And so you allow them to still watch, but you don't let them talk into your life. You don't let them pour into your life. You don't let them speak into what you should do and shouldn't do, but you let them watch your life from a distance. And so I hope, again, that this will be a great encouragement to you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So take care. Have a blessed one.